how you can get yourself ready to study in the US. And I think that education for me is one of the key pillars to break poverty. And I always go back to my story that if I hadn't schooled, I would have probably been on the farm by now. And it's just as it is, and especially being for women, it's very vital component of your life that you cannot ignore. And it's the same thing also for men. You are the breadwinner of the family, so it's also a core component. And I'm very privileged to have Jennifer Green here. She's with the embassy. I'm very happy to have Bernice from Education USA. Also very happy to have Rafiatu, also from the embassy. Andrew is here, always with us, supporting our program, also from the embassy. And later we'll tell you about the American Corner. It's a space under normal circumstances where you come, there are laptops, we have eLibrary USA, is a component of everything that you want to learn, research, anything that you want to do. There are chairs and tables for collaborative learning. There are places you can meet and talk, discuss, meet people. You can, of course, come and take a look at the books that we have, TOEFL, SAT, GRE, like a lot of resources for you to get advanced knowledge or prepare yourself to study in the US. And without talking much, I would like to invite Bernice to take the floor and also start the program. Thank you, Bernice, for this privilege, and welcome again to the program. Thanks.
Thank you, Auntie Florence. Good morning, everyone. I have my colleague Rafiatu here. So she will tell us something brief about why we are all here today. I'm sure you received emails. We don't know what your expectations are, but maybe as she tells you what we have for you, it might help you to also prepare adequately through the session. Let's welcome Rafiatu.
Thank you very much. I feel very delighted to be here. When I see faces and I see young people who really want to learn or who want to be educated, I feel so excited. A warm welcome to you, and even making the time to be here, we are happy to see your faces. Like my colleagues introduced me, my name is Rafiatu, and I am one of the EdUSA advisors in the US Embassy. Education USA is a network. We are supported by US Department of State, okay? And we are in about 175 countries, representing over 400 centers. So we have advisors who bring to your doorstep the information you need to study in the USA. We know that education is all across the globe, but it's not just about education, but the quality of the education, right? So we are privileged. Today we are here with one of our senior most advisors. She's going to take us through and tell us what packages we have and the opportunities that lie before you. So we are going to learn about graduate studies and also undergrad studies. I know we have professionals here, and we also have what? Senior high school graduates here. So she's going to take us through, and we'll get to know the opportunities that we can take advantage of. I'm so happy, and I welcome you all. Please relax and take the best out of this session. Thank you so much. I'll hand you over to Mrs. Ashton.
Thank you very much, Ms. Rafiatu. Because I want you to hear me, I will put off my mask. It's mask, so I think that should be okay. I won't move around, so don't fear that I will come close to you. So as she said, we are from Education USA. Who has heard about Education USA before? Okay, I was going to give you a gift if you raise your hand, but since no one has, I will keep my gift. But you all have flyers and booklets that has our information on it. We are a US government sponsored network. So we work for the US government. We are mandated to provide information on higher education and also guide you through the process. When we talk about higher education, we mean anything after high school. So when you are going to university for the first time, it's higher education. When you are going to university for the second or third time to do a master's or do a doctorate, it's still higher education, okay? So today I'm going to talk about the steps. Many a time people reach out to our office and the first inquiry is on scholarship. Or if we are not lucky, it's on visa. Thank you. I almost forgot that this is a hybrid program. So we have some participants online. Greetings to you all. Thank you for joining us. We'll be monitoring the chats. So if you have questions or comments, we'll be monitoring and I will address it as we go. Thank you again for joining us. So EducationUSA provides you the information and guides you. We look at a 5-step application process, the whole journey, from when you make up to study in the US. So when you actually carry your bag and head out to the airport, it's a 5-step application process. So as you see displayed on the website, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, each of them tells you what there is to do or no, right? So before you plan to go to the US, you may have considered a lot of things, okay? For most of us from this side of the world, it's money. As I always say, we chop cedi, they chop dollar. What is the cedi to dollar rate? Who can tell me for today or for this week? Thank you very much. So if a school says, pay $1,000, how much are you paying? And it's natural, the way the mind calculates it automatically. And most of you, as you go through the process and eventually succeed and go, you will experience it. Once you land there, you are going to buy jene in the supermarket, and it's not like the market here. You say, "Mami 2 cedi, Mami 5 cedi." Oh, tiso kakra tuso, tiso or tuso. Over there, it's both. Sometimes you say tiso, or you want to pay less, or you want more of the goods you are buying, right? Over there, it's all packed. So when you go, there's a label. You buy or you leave it. Okay, so when they say jene is $5, you quickly calculate, hey, 5 times 7.5. So even when a school says pay $1,000, it's a lot of money in the Ghanaian currency. Okay? But I'm not scaring you, I'm just telling you the plain truth. Studying abroad, outside your country, is always very expensive. And those of you who have finished university, you notice that some people from within our region, not even outside of Africa, come here to study in our universities. Is that correct? Do we all pay the same fees? No. They pay multiples of what we pay because they are international when you look at Ghanaian universities for them. The same way, when you also go out, you pay more. So anyhow you look at it, studying abroad is expensive. But I have news for you. We'll come back to that, okay? So the 5 steps you can follow to study in any US university will be: 1, to research your options. You can decide to go to America, you can decide to go to Canada, you can decide to go to Australia. I'm here to promote America, so I'll talk about that, okay? But once you decide to study in America, you should also realize that America is very big. There are some states, like one state will be the size of Ghana. There are some states that just that state is bigger than all of Ghana. And then there are fewer states that are smaller than Ghana. Do you understand? So America is that big. How many states do we have in the US? Okay, don't worry, don't answer my questions. I'm keeping all my gifts. I don't even want to give them out. I'll take them back to the embassy. How many states? Yes, sir. 50 states, thank you. Do you know any of the very big in terms of land size? Yeah. Very good. Texas is very big. We can fit maybe 2 or even 2.5 of Ghana into Texas. So that brings me back to the research point. If you are studying in the, you decide that you want to go to America, it's still a very big place, okay? I've had people come to my office before COVID when people were coming, they say, oh, madam, put me anywhere. Once it's America, I'll go. But this is not a matter of putting me anywhere. When we work with you, we want you to choose schools that are a very good fit for you. Do you understand? And the definition of good fit will be different for every student. You get it? So you have to research your options. You have to know what you need to survive and do well in those institutions you are interested in. You also have to have priorities. You should have needs. There may always be wants, but the needs are more important, okay? So you need to know what you need and choose schools that will help fulfill those needs. For some of us, it's just money. We want scholarship. For some other people, especially as you go higher, it's more of the research you want to do. So you want a school that has faculty who are working on something similar or related. Do you get it? And then the money. Now you also notice that in Ghana, we only have rain or shine. Is that correct? Do we have snow here? No, we wish, right? So that we can play snowballs. But when you leave Ghana to go to the US, now a lot of other cultural things will come into play. I've just talked about climate, okay? The skin color. Right now, we all look, even the fairest people, Rafiat is a bit fair, but I can't even see her fairness. We have one lady here who is fair. Those online, are you fair? But then when you compare myself and my colleague here, then you see that our colors are different. In Ghana, it doesn't matter. But once you decide to go to the US, it becomes a very, I don't want to call it pressing issue because people react to differences in a very different way. But if that is important to you, then as you decide on which school, you have to think of whether to go to a historically Black college or university or go to a predominantly white school. You know, all those things will come into play. Let's talk about Banku and Gary and things. You can't go and buy wache on any street in America. But for some of us right now, that's our mainstay. If I don't eat wache, Auntie Muni's wache one day, I won't survive or I won't be myself. Food is very different. It's part of the cultural differences. So as you research your options, know all the things that will matter to you. Do you get it? Do you get it? Not just the excitement of, oh, Charlie, they go America, they go burger and things. No. It's more about, Auntie Florence said, education opens a lot of doors for you in the future. So think about yourself, think about your future. Where do you want to be? What do you want to attain? Are we on the same page? So when you are making decisions, when you are making choices, all these considerations will come together. And America has more than 4,000 universities, accredited universities. So by all means, you will find one thing. We don't have up to 100 universities, but most of us here who have a first degree, we go to university. Did we have to struggle too much to get to school? Maybe no for most of us, right? So, and for those who have finished high school, you are now going to choose. You can consider Ghanaian schools. I'm not saying that Ghanaian universities are bad. I did my first degree here at the best school in Ghana. Don't ask me which one. I'm sorry. EdUSA, thank you very much. We are many here. We are many here. I have the tech man is a EdUSA man. If you don't agree, we'll cut the program and then walk away. Do you get it? So you can have a first degree here and still go and continue in America. Don't look down on the education we have. We are having challenges and all that, but it's still good. It's still better than some other places. That's why our neighbors in the region flood into Ghanaian universities, okay? If you finish high school from a Ghanaian school, you can use your WASI and study at the university in the US. If you have a first degree from a Ghanaian school here, you can continue on to a master's or doctoral program. So research your options. Identify what your needs are. And if you have more time to consider your wants, that's fine too. People say, oh, I don't like a place that has snow. I'm used to rain, so I want a place that has snow. US has some states that don't, where it doesn't snow at all. Just that during the winter months, it will get a little colder, more colder, but we can't compare to here, right? Somebody was going to America. I said, oh, they said it's cold. I'm going to enter a freezer and see if I can survive. It's colder than the freezer. But some people also don't care, because when they live in the cold places, when they come back, the skin will tell where they've been. Everybody is different. But on a more serious note, think of the things that will matter to you as you think of your next level of education. And choose, because nobody will insist that you go to a particular school. Do you understand? Step 2 is money matters. As I said, international education is expensive. But when you see the amount, don't panic, because some schools have opportunities for funding. There are schools that will give you full funding if you're an undergraduate. Some schools look at your level of need and they provide for you, especially if you're a very strong student and they want you on their campus. And you can't pay even $10 and they have the funds, they can bring you on. That's how come you hear people go to school and they say, oh, I'm on a free ride. They're paying everything for me. Okay, so there are schools like that. There are other schools that can give you merit-based scholarships. Sometimes these are partial scholarships, okay? So not about funding that we at the embassy do not give you the money. Most of the funding you can get to study will come from the institutions in the US. And you can't take funding from school A and apply it in school B. You must be applying to those schools to be considered for the kind of funding opportunities they have. Are we clear on that? So again, back to step 1. When you're choosing your schools, if money is an issue for you, you also look at their money matters, the funding policies, what they have. If it will work for you, then you check that one on your options or the needs list. Are we clear with that? Then you also consider everything else that matters to you. The people there, do you want a place that is very diverse or you don't care about diversity? Diversity can be even with the faculty. US is a very diverse place. They have faculty from all over, even with food. Food is, you can go to the supermarket to buy milk and you'll be confused. Now we have a lot of supermarkets, so we see low fat, and this in the US they have 5%, 2%, correct me Jenny if I'm wrong. All kinds of, you go to the supermarket and you are confused. Because here Lipton, sugar, different kinds of sugar, all of that. So there's diversity in everything in the US. You need to know what you want and look for it. You are sure to get it because there are a lot of options. Are we clear? So it means that as you consider applying to schools in the US, you must do a little bit of self-search. What do I want? Is it just for the fun of going to America, or I really want something? Some people would like to have some kind of internship opportunities as they go through their education, right? Especially for those who haven't had any work experience. You can look for schools based on that. Some people have families in the US, so they want to live close to their relatives or even live with their relatives and commute to school. That means that you have to identify where your relative is and choose schools in their vicinity. That is fine. Nobody will say, no, you can't do that. You have to go to this school. It's about you. So even the advisor cannot insist, except we feel we know you too well and we know what will work for you. Even that one, we just bring it to your attention. We don't insist. It's all about you, okay? So as you think of that option of going to study in the US, start asking yourself the questions, what do I want? Where would be the right place for me? What kind of institution? There are different kinds of institutions. There are public schools, there are private schools. There are large universities, there are small universities. And you can look at Ashesi, Valley View, Central University as small universities compared to the mothers. KNUST, UCC, that the other university, what's the name? The other university, University of Ghana. Are we here? I repent. Are we clear? So these three major universities are very big. Now we have UDS, we have UHAS. They are public schools, but they are not as big as the three top universities. I've added you to the top. Are we okay? Are we getting the picture? I'm just injecting a little of these things, but I need your full attention. Okay. Do we have any questions from our online yet? Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. So after you've determined what you want, you've looked at the different options, you've decided on which schools might make a good fit for you. Now you have to move to step 3 to apply. When you're applying to schools, whether at the undergraduate level or at the graduate level, you need to fill out an online application. Okay? You need to fill out an online application. You will need to pay application fee. Thanks to COVID, now schools are able to waive application fees for, most schools are able to waive it, especially if you participate on their online programs. They can give you a code and free you of that cost, okay? But you also need to submit your application document, your academic document. For undergraduates, your academic document will be WASI. Are you with me? If the school requires a test like SAT or ACT, you need to submit it, okay? And then if they need you to do an interview, they need you to write essays, they will need your transcript, and so on. Some people think that if they bomb WASI and they write SAT and they do well, they can go to America. No. In fact, when COVID came, it even changed the requirement for the SAT. Most test centers were closed. So schools stopped focusing on SAT. They were looking at your WASI and your transcripts. If you are you finish university or you are about finishing university, you are going to a master's or doctorate program, they need your transcript. They need a copy of your certificate. We all have one certificate, but you can have a certified copy. So you request a certified copy and an original transcript, not the student copy, and then you share with the schools. They need to know more about you beyond your academic records. So that's why they will have you write essays, they will have you do interviews and things like that. They also need you to assure them that you will be financially okay. So there are forms you fill to let them know. If the school is giving you funding, then sometimes they don't worry so much about these funding documents, okay? So all these things will come together, submit to the school, then you can say, I've applied. Okay, this is just like a beginning thing. So I'm not delving so much into details, but every step can take a standalone session, okay? But I'm just whetting your appetite and just giving you basic background information so that as you start thinking of applying to schools in the US, you are not only focusing on scholarship or visa. There's a lot more to do before you get to that point. So on the first slide, you saw we're at step 3. Step 4 is after you've applied, you have an admission, then you can apply for a visa. Because the schools, after they admit you, will send you documents that will enable you apply for a visa. Do we get it? And then step 5 is pre-departure, preparing yourself for the whole US experience. Some people have traveled to America before, they went on vacation, they enjoyed it. When you go to school, it will not be a vacation. So you need to understand the classroom culture. You need to understand the life of an international student in the US. So we bring some of our students who have gone ahead, either they've recently graduated or they are still in school. We bring them into the program so that they can share their experiences. You can ask anything from food to how to keep your hair, about the weather, academics, everything. We also bring faculty so that they can talk to you from the perspective of a lecturer or what their expectations are of students, okay? So pre-departure helps you to prepare yourself. When we come to the nitty-gritty, some people will say, oh, me, I just want the best school in the US or one of the best schools. Best is very relative. How do you define best? Again, it depends on you. It's the same definition of good fit. What makes a school a good fit for you? If you have health problems and you find yourself in a place where the weather can be very cold all the time, will not be a good place for you. You don't want to go there. I studied in Chicago. Ask me about winter, I'll tell you. Do you understand it? But that doesn't mean that because of that, you should shy away from all the cold places. If you are a graduate student, even for undergraduates, now schools are interested in doing getting undergraduates to do research. Do you understand? So if the area you are interested in has faculty in schools that occur in very cold places through the winter, would you cut yourself? So don't cut yourself off, and then don't be asking questions like, oh, what's the best school in America? Of course, everybody knows Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Columbia, go on. Are they necessarily the best schools for you? Maybe not. And especially at the graduate level, let me see by hands, how many of you are graduates? Like you finished first degree, you're looking at. And then undergraduate. Okay. And then online, how many? For graduates, and then the rest are undergrad. Okay. So for undergraduate applications, people really look at prestige. Hey, my son is in Harvard for the parents, right? Hey, my child, even you with your friends, Sally, I get Harvard, where I go. But when it comes to graduate school, it's not so much about the name. And I can give you a very good example to help settle your mind. If you are going to do business and you don't get into Harvard Business School, for example, you're going for MBA, you don't get into Harvard Business School, but you got into University of Virginia's Business School, would you go? When you are looking at the top MBA programs in the US, University of Virginia is one of them. Most of the time, if you're looking at top 10, top 15, Harvard is there, but University of Virginia is also there. So when it comes to the graduate programs, it doesn't really, of course, if you get Harvard, go. I'm not saying don't apply to Harvard or Yale or anywhere. Do you understand? But it's not only about prestige, it's about where will make a good fit for you. Are we getting it? So when you are choosing schools, think broadly. Look more at yourself and where will make sense for you to be, including the money matters. The public schools are less expensive, just like I'll compare University of Ghana and Ashesi in terms of how much you pay to get the education, okay? But then you also look at opportunities. What opportunities do you want? Some people want to study abroad so that they don't get only a US experience, but they can travel to Germany, go to Spain, go elsewhere, and also study there for shorter terms whilst they are still students in the US. If that's you, then when you are looking for schools, you look out for their study abroad programs as well to help inform your decision to apply there or not to apply. If you want internships, if you want to do research, like work with the faculty, and some of these universities house the Nobel Prize winners, the best faculty in the various fields. You are reading about research on something, research on this from these schools. How nice will it be for you to be in one of those schools and be working with some of those renowned professors? So for graduate school, it's more about the program you want to study. If you want to go for agric, for example, you don't want to look at Harvard. Do you understand? You'll be looking at some of the A&Ms, agriculture and mechanization or Texas A&M is Texas Agric and Mechanization, something like that, State University. So if you are going to Agric, you better look at the A&Ms. You will get it. If you are going into science, then you look at the STEM heavy schools and so on and so forth. So don't just look plainly at best schools. Look at best schools based on what you are looking for. And then understand their requirements. You don't want to only apply to schools because the name is nice, or you took a virtual tour and then you saw that all the students in the pictures were laughing. So you will be happy there. This was what somebody asked me some years ago. He said, Auntie, when I look at the pictures, all the students are laughing. When I go there, will I be happy? But it's more serious than just going there and being happy. There's something at stake. You are going for an education. You are going for opportunities. When you study in the US, indirectly, you're also making yourself a global citizen. So what other opportunities will come together to project you in that light? Are we clear? And then understand their timelines and their deadlines. Okay. There's a question here. Can I use my letter of English proficiency from my university to apply for graduate school? Because on the letter, they equated my English score to the IELTS. Okay. Thank you for drawing my attention. I will answer in a moment. Okay. So we also talked, when I come to the application, I'll answer the English proficiency question, okay? We've also talked about finances. I've mentioned that, and it's important. I haven't forgotten that, I've said it earlier, but I'm saying it for emphasis. It's important that you consider the costs and the options before you apply to a school. It's very painful. Students do all the hard work, they get admitted into schools, and now they realize that, oh, I can't pay. Now they are going around looking for scholarships. I've explained that some of the funds you can get will come from the institutions you're applying to. So at the research stage, when you are considering your options, look at how much it will cost you to study in that school for the year and for the whole period. Find out if there are opportunities for funding. If it will work for you, then you go ahead and apply, in addition to everything else you are considering, okay? There are also external scholarships. That one, nobody controls it. But you just don't want to apply for a scholarship that will ask you to pay something before you can get the scholarship. Already you need a scholarship, you don't have money. Now they want you to pay. Recently, somebody was calling people in the last 2 weeks and telling the person he or he is calling from the US Embassy. They've won scholarships and that they should pay 2,500 cedis so that they can process their scholarship. We don't do anything like that, okay? But if it's an external scholarship, we don't have any control, but be careful, nobody scams you, okay? But also know that you are free to apply for any external scholarship you deem great for you, okay? But so there will be schools that offer funding opportunities. I don't have a list. I told you there are 4,000 schools in the US, but every school will have something. There are very few schools that don't have funding for international students at all. So again, at step one, if you notice that this school doesn't have funding for international students and it doesn't meet all of your needs, then you quickly would move on to the next school. There's no reason to spend your time on them unless they are the only school that has the program you want and you can't do anything about it. Then you find alternate ways of supporting yourself, raising money to support yourself, okay? But by all means, if there are scholarships, go for them. So I mentioned that the application process involves filling out an online application and then paying the fee, but you also send your statement of purpose. They will need letters of recommendation at either level. whether undergrad or grad, if the tests are required, then you will need to send a test score. It could be the GRE, it could be GMAT, it could be SAT, it could be ACT, it could be TOEFL. Most schools, to answer your question about the TOEFL, most schools in the US recognize that we speak English, we learn English as a subject right from KG days up to university. We are doing com skills and analytical writing, creative writing, all kinds of things. So some schools respect that. Other schools are not sure, especially for graduate studies, because if they are going to give you an assistantship, I will come back to assistantship, then you'll be working closely either with undergraduate students or with the lecturers in their research. So they want to be sure that you are proficient enough. Some will still take the proficiency letter. Some will insist that you take a TOEFL or IELTS or Duolingo. So all these are things you want to check at the beginning before you tell yourself, I have 3 schools or I have 10 schools. Are we clear? You don't want to start an application, even pay the application fee if you don't get a waiver, only to realize that they need you to take a TOEFL or any other proficiency test. So it's very important to check. And it's very okay, both for undergraduates and grad, when you're applying to schools, to be communicating with somebody from the admissions office. It's okay. If you read the information on their website and there are things you don't find, yet you want to know, write to somebody. They are even happy that way. They don't want, they have a term for it, like applicants that just submit the application and you don't hear anything from them. They want people who will interact with them. That is a plus for you because that way they also know you. They have you in mind. When they are processing applications, they're like, what is this student's application? The one who's been, the student from Ghana who's been asking questions every 10 days. That doesn't mean ask just any question, but definitely if you have questions and you can't find them on the website, ask. Most schools now have boards on their website. You can chat live with them, okay? You can send emails and do all of that communication. So talking about assistantship, we mentioned that you can find funding or you may have to support yourself or you may look for external scholarships. For graduate students, most of the funding you can get will be in the form of a merit-based scholarship, which usually is automatic. They review your application, your academics and all, and they give you an automatic scholarship. You don't have to do anything about it. But there are also assistantships. For some schools, you put in a separate application for the assistantship. For some schools, as you fill the application form, you just tick whether you want to be considered for funding or not. And for all of us, I know what we tick. We'll say yes, right? There are 3 different kinds of assistantships. So the one called teaching assistantship, it's just the role of a TA is similar to the TA's role during national service, right? They help the lecturers to teach, they do tutorials, they help to mark the papers and grade and all that. You may also be a research assistant, helping a faculty to work on a particular research, collect data, analyze the data, write reports, and things like that. Then the third one is the regular graduate admin assistantship. It's an admin position. You may be working with the graduate department or any other department in your school, doing all the back-end admin work. The benefits of an assistantship is that if it's a full assistantship, it will pay your tuition fully, and then they give you a stipend every pay period. So that's what most Ghanaian students thrive on. But like any other situation to do with money, the opportunities will be limited for every school. So they can't give assistantship to any and every graduate student they recruit, okay? This is open for international students, open for American citizens, just anybody coming to graduate school, okay? So the nice thing about it is, if it's a full assistantship and they pay all of your tuition, and they give you a stipend. Because you're a Ghanaian and you're already a manager or managers, you know how to manage things, right? So then you can manage with whatever amount you are getting as stipend. So it feels like they're paying you to go to school. But you're also working, whether in the teaching or research, 20 hours of your time every week. You know, the full work week is 40. But because you are there as a full-time student, they make you work only part-time. So if you can, as a graduate student, go for it. If you can't, some schools have fellowships and grants that you can apply for, but most schools also have merit-based scholarships. So before you even get to step 3, you start applying. You should work on all these things and know how. Are we clear? For undergraduates, you can get merit scholarships, could be full tuition, it could be partial. You can get need-based funding, which usually looks at your need. If you are getting need-based funding, then it means that you are past merit. You are good enough to get merit scholarships, but you are also needy. So they will go past your merit and consider your need. Those schools that are need blind, they are able to be more generous in terms of funding. So for undergraduates, you also have options. And whether you are a graduate or undergraduate, you can apply for external scholarships as well. Just that sometimes those scholarships are very specific in their eligibility requirements. You should be from a particular country. You should be doing a particular program or studying at a particular degree level, you know, things like that. But otherwise, you are free to apply for external scholarships. Just make sure nobody gives you. So you've done all the hard work. You've decided where you want to go. You've selected schools. You've considered funding and cost and all those things. And you know that these 4 schools are good for me. They make a good fit for me. So I'm going to apply to them. You've applied. Thankfully, you've gained an admission. Now your school will send you a document called an I-20 if they think you should apply for an F1 student visa, or they'll give you a J visa if they think that you should come as a J student. J students are usually students funded by government, either the government of your country or the government of the US, okay? But most of us who are applying as individual students will rather be issued an I-20 so that we can apply for an F visa. Are we clear on that? Usually every year before COVID, between April and July, we host sessions for admitted students so that we can take them through the visa application process, sometimes to get consular officers to come and do it themselves and explain the visa process. I'm not going to dwell on the visa process because we need a school before we will worry about visas, right? And then the pre-departure as well. But as I said, it's important to research your options well. Think of yourself, think of which places in the US or what schools will make the most sense for you to apply to based on who you are and what your needs or preferences are. I know that right now some of you are thinking, now 4,000, how am I able to know which one is good for me? EducationUSA is there to help you. We have 2 centers in Ghana. The center at the embassy where Rafiatu and I are coming from. Of course, we came with our colleagues, Jen and Andrew, but we also have a center in Kumasi. Before COVID, we had days that students can come in and sit with us one-on-one. We do group sessions like this to provide general information. But then when we start talking about your options, your choices, we don't want anybody to know what you're thinking or what you're looking for. So you have a one-on-one session with the advisor. COVID came, we closed, we're still not open, but we are doing one-on-one advising sessions via Zoom or Google Meet. We are doing virtual meet. Sometimes we just do it over the phone. We do the video call if let's say for students who want to show us their I-20 or want to show something to us, or just pretending to be doing in-person advising, right? I want to see your face, you want to see my face. So we do the video call, but we also have our emails, and you've all received a copy of our flyer. We have the contacts for the embassy office and the Kumasi office. Feel free to reach out to any of us. I'll stop here and see if we have any questions at all, both in the room and online. Thank you very much. Any questions so far? Oh, are you scared or you are okay with everything? Or you are bored with me? Any questions? Don't be shy. Oh. Yes. Tell me your name, please. Your name is? Richard. Richard, okay. Okay, thank you. His question is, how do we have access to the school? So this, as I said, is just a basic information to get you to understand a few things. We have a website. So this website here says educationusa.state.gov. Just a moment, I'm trying to project the website. educationusa.state.gov. I don't know what I did, but the website is also on the flyer. Okay, so look out for it, edusa.state.gov, and we have our contact details. So if you'll be interested, we also do sessions to help you choose schools. As I said, we do at the group level and at the individual level. At this point, everything is virtual, but in the last 3 years, we've learned to do virtual. And it seems just like real, right? So we have search engines that can help you to choose schools either at the graduate level or at the undergraduate level. So please reach out to us. And we don't even want you to go through all the 4,000 schools by yourself. For graduate study, about 1,000 in the US offer.
I just saw it. Oh. Oh.
Okay, so you don't even, for graduates, you don't have to look at all 4,000, just about 1,000 of them. We will show you the search engines and how you can use them. So reach out to us. Thank you for your question. Any other? Okay. So if there are no questions, I will end here and call Princess. Sorry? Oh, okay. Okay, please, I'm an HND graduate. If I want to pursue my BSc outside Ghana, does it mean I will go for 4 years or just 2 years, as in the case of Ghana? Good question. So if you have an HND, you have at the American level, you have an associate degree. So just like you will top up here in Ghana for 2 years, you can also do the same in the US. Or you can top up here, get your degree, and then do the master's in the US. And sometimes how much it takes you to top up here is shorter than how long it takes you to get there. So if you look at the cost implications, there are very rare scholarships, very few scholarships for students who are topping up. I have to be frank with you. So if you have HND, your best option is to top up here and then consider graduate school in the US. The other thing is that the courses you do here will be evaluated. So how many will be accepted determines how long you will be in school for. It's not a straight cut. You've done 3 years, so you do 2 years top up. It depends. I've heard that there is a set number of people from Ghana to USA every year. How true is that? Will this influence my decision to go to USA? I haven't heard that. I'm not sure where you heard that from, but I've been doing this work for quite a while. Every year I get students going to the US. Of course, I don't get to work with all students from Ghana. Some do it on their own, but the many students we get to work with at the embassy, they get to go. And I'm proud to say that in the last 3 years, our numbers in the US has increased. Last 2 years, last year, 2020, we had 15.3% increase. Last year, we had only 0.2 because of COVID. But that is an increase anyway, because most countries, they had reductions in the numbers of students. So I can tell you that so far, Ghanaians they get successful with this process. Sometimes you don't have to believe everything you hear, because there are also what we call rumors. So you don't want to, it's good to open up for information, but don't take everything. Yes, sir. Joshua, God's way. Good question on visa. He's asking, can you start the visa application process whilst you wait for the schools to decide, or do you have to wait? The answer is you have to wait. As I mentioned, when you finish step 3, when you finish applying, the schools will have to make a decision on whether they are accepting you or not. Once they accept you, they send you an admission letter. They send you a lot of information to go through, and then you fill some forms and accept the offer and all of that. Once you've finished, they will send you a document called I-20 or DS-2019, depending on whether you are getting any funding from the school or from the government, okay? Then that also determines what kind of visa you can apply for. There's J and F and M. Most students will be applying for the F. So they will need an I-20. The I-20 permits you, that it gives you that authority to apply for a visa. You can't just go and pay and start. You see that as you start filling the form, you even get stuck because they'll be asking you questions and you won't have the patience to fill it. Sorry, I got muted. We can help you with your essays, but you will write it. When it's beginning to take shape, we can help by reading and giving our input or our thoughts. So yes, we do that. If I'm a graduate midwife in Ghana and I want to pursue degree in the US, will I have to start as an undergraduate student, or is it possible to pursue master's? If you have a first degree from any institution, accredited institution in Ghana, then you can continue onto a graduate program in the US. You don't have to start all afresh. Yes. Brianna? Brianna, nice name. So is it possible to write WASI this year and apply to school the same year? Some people do that, but what that will mean is that now that you are not so busy with WASI, you will start the research. You will start the back end work, okay? But my personal advice is that you have only one opportunity to write WASI, and it's now. So between when you go to school next week or the week after Easter, you are not coming here till September. When you are in school, for those in boarding schools, when you are in school, you have limited access. So how are you able to juggle the two? If you are in a day school, then you have access to internet to do these things. But again, remember that I mentioned that the WASI is important. So if you have this time and you can commit your attention and everything to do the WASI and do it very well, then there's no need for remedial, right? So right after you finish, you have all the time in the world to work on this process. Some people do that, and students are different. Some people, once they say, oh, I can manage WASI work and, school work and this. If they challenge themselves like that, they are able to do it. But you don't want to juggle too many things, because another thing is that if you're looking for funding, you're looking for an admission with funding, it gets competitive. Look at a school like Harvard or Stanford. On a normal day, if you're applying to Harvard, it will take you a lot, right? You need to put in a lot of effort in order to come across to admissions officers as a very strong candidate. Now you are looking for admissions and you are looking for money. So it puts a lot more work on you to show that you deserve the admission and you deserve the money. Do you understand? Yet you have limited time to juggle these two things. So yes, a short answer to your question is yes, you can do that, but you should also consider what it means to your results and also your own self. Yes, ma'am.
If I just want to add something, if you are interested in our services, kindly email us. We send you a Google form so that you can fill it out for us. To enable us to invite you for our future sessions. Okay. And for those of us who are online, we will share the email address with you. Thank you.
Yes, so all too soon. If we don't have any question, Anthony, are you done? Yes, she said, maybe she has something else.
Oh no, please, sorry. I'm done. I was just writing our email. I forgot that the online people, they didn't receive the flyer.
Oh, okay.
So Andrew is sharing with them.
Yes, so on behalf of Mobile Web Ghana and the embassy, I really want to thank you, the audience, for making it possible for coming. And this is just a first step, like the 5 steps you've seen. This is just the information session, barely is really nothing. There is more to applying to schools in the US than just attending information session. And after the session, please, they are available. Talk to them. Luckily, it's in person, so you can easily talk to them, ask your questions if you didn't ask them here. And I also want to thank Jennifer Green for also joining us today. Thank you, Jennifer. We really appreciate your presence. And Auntie Pettis, you are really awesome. You answered all the questions. It shows that you are experts in the field that you are. Thank you. And thanks to Ramatu as well for joining. And also Andrew for managing the online And our audience online, we say thank you very much. We hope that we had all your questions and we answered them very well. In the hand of Salom. Salom, we are wrapping up. If you want to just ask your question quickly, then we can take it. Then we can wrap up. And then we can have a networking session. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I have one more announcement from our tech desk. Okay, so for the sake of those who came in a bit late, this has been recorded. It will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. So look out for it, okay? Thank you very much. I haven't done this in a long time. When we see people like this, we just get excited. So thank you very much for coming.
I think, yes, so Andrew, are you ending the Zoom or you want to? I see another pop-up question. And then we can, of course, close the online and then thank you.
Okay, there's one last question. It said, I hold a diploma certificate in midwifery after having pursued 3 years study in Ghana. In that case, can I do a graduate study top up or have to do undergraduate study? So if you have a diploma is 2 years, HND is 3 years. You can still apply for a top up. But you cannot go straight on to graduate study. So your options are to do a top up, have a first degree, and then go into the graduate study if ultimately that's where you want to get to. If you go to do an undergraduate study, you can still apply, you can get the school. Sometimes you need to justify a lot. You need to convince a lot. Whoever will be interviewing you, after the school, you will get it. But for the interview, you need to convince them that this is not a wanting to go to America situation. Because if you've done 2 years, normally we try to move forward in education. You don't go finish SHS, then you go and start JHS. You say, oh, I'm starting JHS again because I want to go to another school in secondary school. So it's just a situation like that. So normally it's better to top up, finish, and move to the next level. Thank you.
Yes, so we are wrapping up. And as I mentioned, the American Corner, this is the American Corner, a partnership between Mobile Web Ghana and the US Embassy here in Accra. It's a space that you can come, like find information also about schooling. I mentioned we still have some books, those of you who didn't come early. We have GRE. Come again.
Bring new books.
Okay, she said she's going to bring more new books. It means that you have this place will be stocked with a lot of resources for you to also learn and study and also prepare yourself to go to study in abroad or in the US. And also we have normal circumstances where you have their computers. How many of you have ever been here? I see a couple of new faces. Yes, just a handful, like 5 or 6. It means the majority of you have never been here. And we are very excited to welcome you here. Come here, you have a resource we call eLibraryUSA. It has almost everything that you want to learn, from kids to adults to graduate study. And you'll find it very useful. And please come, there are tables, chairs for collaborative discussion and learning as well. So this is the American Corner, and these are some of the books. And we are very happy to welcome you here. Thank you very much.
For example, you want to learn about some schools, okay? We'll be updating very soon. And then you ask about how to look for schools. These testing schools, we'll share the website when you join next session.